So I was extremely right in thinking that I probably shouldn't have fixed that second rum and coke. Um, First off, I'd like to start off by saying that BB Hank 1, I greatly admire your country. In the sense that I stay very in tune with most political news. And the times that I end up hearing about Denmark in the news is very little. Meaning you guys stay fairly low profile, which means you're doing your own thing. You're making sure your government is moving in the ways that you want it to. And I'm really, like, envious of that. One of the worst things that I can deal with. Well, so it's a small country, but it is a very significant country. Denmark, once upon a time, was the gateway to the Baltic Sea, which means that it held a huge sway amongst the trade of the Baltics, which is the same as Gibraltar when you think of the Mediterranean, or what's another good analogy? Panama, when you think of the Pacific breach of the Atlantic, or the what's the other canal? The one in the Suez Canal. When you think of the Mediterranean being able to deal with the Indian Ocean, or what's another good one? Istanbul, when you have to deal with the Mediterranean as opposed to the Black Sea. You guys were a major player when it comes to trade throughout history, which means you have a significance, unlike a lot of other countries, maybe more than about 5 or 6 countries in the world. So the fact that I never hear about y'all's shit when it comes to politics is absolutely amazing. Here in the United States, I can't say as much. The only thing we hear about here is, even if you live out of the United States, the only thing you hear about is Donald Trump and President Biden, the authoritarian and the forgetful old man who may affect the rest of the world, depending on who we decide is going to be our leader. Yeah. I have a deep respect for Denmark. Again, Baltic Sea, trade, etc., etc. But the fact that you guys keep to yourself is fairly amazing these days. Because here in the United States, we can't even imagine doing that. Because we have our fingers in everybody's pie. And they're making everybody's pie dirty as fuck. Again, especially South America, dude. South America, I feel sorry for those guys. Europe, you guys can kind of do your own thing without us dealing with it. Without us really fucking with you guys too much. And I admire that. Again, the reason why you guys get a lot of demonization, especially when it comes to the far right in our government. But, yeah. Hey, Cowits2. Welcome to the stream. We just restarted again. I guess I should do station identification. My name is Thorn. And this is the Game Design Lexicon. We're currently playing Cultist Simulator. My name is Phil McCrevis. That's not a comedic name in any sort whatsoever. Because I am Dr. Phil, the physician. And we're currently trying to take over the world with our cult, which currently has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members. Almost 7 members. Let's go ahead and work on that 7th member. So we're talking politics of the world and how America tends to put themselves into everything when it's not welcome. I'm an American, and I'm currently in a very red area. In case you're unfamiliar with the term, red means extremely right-leaning. The place where I live in, things like abortion are illegal. Marijuana is illegal. But owning guns is not. If I really wanted to, I could have a conceal and carry license and carry a firearm underneath my jacket if I really wanted to. Welcome. Let's see. Give me a second. Catching up with your text here. Nice. If you need, feel free to ask. But America is actually a lot more than most even think. Yeah, America is quite the enigma, isn't it? Currently, you have the entire world that is looking at us, waiting to figure out if we're going to elect an old, forgetful man or an old man who hates everybody. Isn't that a wonderful choice? Isn't that a wonderful choice? You have a choice between somebody who is old and may forget who the hell you are, but he's good-intentioned, even though he's still a capitalist. Or you have another candidate who we have, who hopefully won't be elected, who hates everybody, especially if you're not white. If you're not white and you're not a man. If you're not white and you're not a man, he hates you. He absolutely hates you. And make sure you know that, because he does. Let's see, catching up with the chat here. Thai. Whoa, Thai. So you're in Thailand. In a lot of the design of the country. Suburbia, car-centric. So the car-centric thing is actually one of my major concerns. So yeah, the fact that the United States is car-centric and the fact that that is greatly detracting from our mental health. Most people don't realize that the fact that our country is so car-centric and that you need to own and maintain a vehicle to be able to travel to anything, your work, or what is known as a third space. So you have two different spaces in your life. You have your home and you have your work. Your third space is a space that you're able to go to relax. And here in America, we don't have a lot of third spaces. In England, one of the best analogies that I have is that you can walk down to your local pub and you can socialize and you can drink and you can have a blast. But here in America, we don't have that because the way that we zone our properties, we don't have a lot of areas that you can walk to. A lot of areas that are what I would call walking friendly. And if you look at our country and notice the fact that we have a lot of public mass shootings, this is one of the reasons why. One of the reasons why we have a lot of lack of well-being or public, what's a good word for it? Psychiatric well-being. Our mental health is not good. Because our corporations, mainly the vehicle industry, has perpetrated an environment that limits our ability to be able to easily access things like third spaces is very limited. And because of that, we have a lot of mental health issues. Isn't it a wonderful, wonderful world we live in? Give me a second, catching up with you guys' chat. Capitalist-centric. Yes, we are extremely, extremely capitalist-centric. Car-centric. I definitely apologize that we had such an influence on your country. I know that, like South Korea, we've certainly ruined with a lot of our idealism. I had no idea it extended to Thailand, which is kind of sad to know. So suburbia is a wonderful concept here. So I live in a part of our country here in the United States, southeast Texas, a city called Houston, which you're probably familiar with. Houston is a lot like Los Angeles in the sense that it embodies suburbia like you wouldn't believe. It is nothing but sprawl. If I want to go to a corner store, like a small store that sells very niche items that I might need in the middle of the night, that's a 15 to 30 minute drive for me. Drive, not walk. There's a very, very little that I can actually walk to here where I live. We have a small mini mall right in front of my subdivision where I could actually walk to, and it's kind of pathetic. Other than that, if you don't own a car, you don't have access to the rest of the world, which is absolutely pathetic. Let's see, give me a second, catching up with chat again. I tried to make suburbia, but the wealth gap, even ignoring the super rich, is pretty large, meaning suburbia, but houses ranges from large mansion. So suburbia is pretty weird. Giving you a good example of how suburbia works here in the United States. When I lived up in my previous area, which is a place up in Utah, and Utah is really weird because, of course, you have your own basically variants of both rich and poor people. Because, of course, you're going to have poor people anywhere, right? So where I lived in Utah, are you familiar with VMware or WordPerfect or any of that software? If you are, the guy who created all that stuff lived down the street from me, which is really strange. I mean, he was literally like 4 or 5 blocks away from where I lived, despite the fact that I lived in one of the poorest areas of Utah. So when places like Google Fiber, or at the time we had another fiber corporation called Utopia, decided that they were going to place fiber optic cable or internet access for the population to be able to access the internet, you could literally go 2 blocks away and have some of the best internet access in the world. However, where I lived, you didn't have it because I was 2 blocks away from the rich people. Let's see, where am I? Hot take about Denmark. The public transport is overrated. So let me tell you about the public transportation in Denmark. I will go ahead and say that I know absolutely nothing about the public transportation in Denmark. However, knowing absolutely nothing about the public transportation in Denmark, I can tell you, after what I just got done telling you about the fact that we have no ability to travel to any type of third space or necessary things like corner stores or drug markets or anything like that. That stuff you cannot get to where I live without a vehicle. I can tell you, not knowing absolutely nothing about Denmark and its public transportation, your ability to get to those types of businesses like drug vendors, small corner stores is better than anything that you can ever imagine here in the United States, at least outside of the very far Northeast. Northeast is a little bit of an exception because, of course, that's modeled after Europe. But the second you go any further west than the Northeast, such as New York, Maine, Massachusetts, whatever, you're talking about a large area where you cannot live without a vehicle. If you do not have a vehicle, you are poor beyond the point that you think poor really is. Let's see. It's gotten so expensive. Yeah, prices here are pretty bad. Despite the fact that everybody's complaining about prices here, we do have a huge deal with inflation. We do have a huge deal with minimum wage. We do have a huge deal with the gap between the richest 1% and the rest of the working class. I can say that we're probably better off here in the United States than anywhere else in the world. Which, sad but true, and people will still complain about it to no end, and I can't blame them, because it's still bad here. Despite the fact that we're probably one of the better places as far as gaining wealth, we're still not great, you know. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's fine. You didn't cause it. Your government of the past did. Dude, our government of the past. See, one of the wonderful things about our country is the fact that we have an entire class of people in our country who fully deny the history of our country. They don't realize the fact that our country was built on genocide and slavery and other undesirable, like objectively poor, you know, moralistically bad ideals. And they are out to actually literally rewrite history to make sure that these, you know, that these types of topics don't stain the history of our country. The fact that we killed an entire race of people to be able to occupy the land that we do. The fact that we enslaved an entire location of people, hundreds or millions of people, to be able to extract the resources from our land to build what we have here in the United States. What's actually really even sad about it is the fact that when you look at it objectively, capitalism, which is what drove like slavery and the genocide of the Native American population, was actually kind of poor compared to when you look at like Soviet communism, which essentially took like, so here in the United States, we went from a agricultural to an industrial nation in the period of, you know, over 200 years, right? But when you look at what communism did to Cuba, the Soviet Union, China, they did it in such a quicker time frame that it's kind of hard to look at communism as a horrible thing as opposed to capitalism. Because while, you know, I'm not going to say that communism wasn't as horrible as capitalism, with the case of like the Soviet Union, for example, which did its own share of genocide of like the Ukrainian people and the Cossacks, and then you have countries like down there, who is it? Pol Pot. What was Pol Pot? Pol Pot was. God damn! Why can't I remember this stuff? Been drinking too much. Apologies, but Soviet, or not Soviet, but communism has definitely had its share of bad problems, such as Stalin, Pol Pot, etc., etc. But the fact that it could actually elevate its population out of poverty, out of an agricultural society into an industrial society in literally like 1/3 the time that it took the United States and other capitalist societies to do so, is notable. And it's one of those things that capitalists seem to demonify people like Stalin. And yeah, Stalin was a horrible person, and in the name of his own political party, he killed a lot of people. But it never really washes away the fact that communism has been able to elevate its population well further than capitalism has, without the same type of genocide, slavery, and extermination of populations that it has over the history of time. Wow, I'm sitting here like proselytizing to you guys, and I probably shouldn't be. Give me a second. I'm catching up with your chat because I've just been kind of rambling on here. People, the wealth gap, even ignoring the super rich, pretty large. The worst part about the super rich is the fact that that gap between the poor and the super rich has gotten extremely larger since like the 1950s, and other parts that especially the far right of the United States deify is ridiculous. So it's horrible. Our wealth gap has gotten larger, and that's something that needs to be addressed, because if it doesn't, it's going to eventually cause problems. The fact that the richer are richer, and things like here in the United States, the minimum wage hasn't increased since I was a child. That's going to have to be addressed. If it's not, then it's going to cause it's going to cause a France-style revolution. Just plain and simple. Public transportation is overrated. Again, your public transportation is better than anything we have here. We have crappy buses, and we have almost no trains. Let's see. Same here, yeah, but even worse. Thailand didn't exactly have any road plan except for just building roads, so everything needs a car. Yeah, so, Cambodia. Oh, Cambodia, yeah, the Pol Pot that I was describing, the Cambodian genocide. Exactly. Again, not the greatest thing in the world. Shit happens. Anybody who forms a political party is going to end up finding people who oppose them and imprisoning them or demonizing them like we do here in the United States, or executing them like they did in several parts of communist and both capitalist countries over and throughout the history of our world. And the way you're describing Thailand pretty much sounds like here in the United States, especially the further you get west. So the Northeast, what we call New England, if you live without a vehicle, you're kind of fine. However, the second you get west of the Mississippi, or even close to the Mississippi, you're pretty much in the same boat that you're describing. You're pretty much fucked if you don't have a vehicle. And what's worse is, like me, personally, I'm really bad. Like, I have both ADHD and autism, both very, like, severe disabilities, right? And most people don't view them as such because they're both mental disabilities, and I can mask and I can look just like you guys do, which is, wonderful in the sense that I can blend in and maybe get decent paying jobs. But when it comes to actually paying attention to a lot of the stuff that I have to, like my living expenses, my ability to transport myself from one location to the other, these are things that I have a problem with. I've never been able to maintain a vehicle my entire life. I think throughout the 50 some odd years that I've been on this earth, I've been able to maintain a vehicle maybe a very short time since then. Where's that passion gone? Okay, we're going to need to use that once it comes out. We're doing pretty good. We got a decent sized cult going here. I need to recruit Violet here. So, haven't been paying a lot of attention of way too much rum and coke. And way too much political musings. So, where do we go from here? That's the question. We have a world that is in a schism at the moment. And we are going to have a problem being able to deal with that schism. We currently have, like here in the United States, one of the most powerful governments in the entire world. We have one of the largest resistance you've ever seen to any type of anti-capitalism type movement. So whatever we do to be able to supplant that, we are going to have to do one of two things. We are going to have to either have a very violent revolution against capitalism, or we are going to have to learn to incorporate capitalism in whatever system we transfer over into. If we do not, then of course the capitalist class is going to resist it with, I mean, look at how we are now. Capitalist class is currently resisting it with violence. We have a very violent resistance to change, which is scary. It's absolutely scary. Okay, let's get some reason studying. I think we need some whatever that provides for us, so we can actually increase our... See, my dear, I've been waiting to talk to you. Sometimes I fund scholars of the invisible arts. I'd like to offer you my support, a substantial contribution. And all you need to do someday is to introduce me to someone else who will end matters properly. She smiles benignly. Add passion or reason to interrogate. So, consent. Yeah, let's do reason here. Someone who will end matters properly. Nah, man, I'm not going anywhere, at least for another 5 minutes, 27 seconds. I haven't decided if this is going to be my last block or what. I'm getting kind of hungry, though. And I've been going now for 3 hours, 40 minutes, so at the end of this block, it'll be close to 4 hours. I should probably end soon. Maybe go get some cereal, or drunkenly drive to Jack in the Box or Whataburger and get something to eat. We'll see how that works out. Nothing like drunk driving in the middle of the night. Okay. Got a little bit of mystique. Dude, that cop, this weary detective over here has had literally nothing to do the entire game. Poor dude. Okay, we need that erudition. Let's go ahead and grab another one here real quick, and then we're going to have to work on studying up our occultist scraps so we can fulfill this commission. You'll need a matching lore fragment of at least level 4. So we'll see if we can get that going here. Oh, goddamn, dude. We got a lot of dread building. Okay, let's get rid of some of this. And let's toot our little cult here. I'm a little happy about that, I gotta admit. Anyway, let's see. 3 minutes, 35 seconds to the next break. Let me go ahead and do a station identity. So I've been drinking rum and coke, just in case. If you guys don't approve of alcohol, that's fine. I don't care. I don't mind. I'm bored, and that's what happens, and I've been having a rough night. So I'm here on my insomnia evening, where I've woken on dreams of abuse and murder. Yeah, I dreamt about attempted murder, which is fun. So, my name is Thorn, and this is the Game Design Lexicon, and we're currently playing Cultist Simulator, which we are trying to, trying to subside all this unbelievable amounts of dread, which, you know, just seems to pile up lately. And, if you haven't already, make sure you're giving us a follow here on Twitch. Check our socials. You can follow us here. You can subscribe to us over on YouTube, which has all of my VODs, all my past VODs, where we've played games such as this, or one of our recent ones has been Daggerfall, or, you know, we try and mix it up during the week, you know. That's just kind of weird. So, okay. God damn it. Okay. Get that fleeting memory going. Get a little bit of contentment. Get a little bit of contentment in our dread. Get a little bit of Monica in our, something. Get a little bit of institution in our work. And Mambo number 5. So, apparently tonight we've decided to talk about politics and morality and all that wonderful stuff that makes our world go round. God damn, dude, are you fucking kidding me? The amount of dread and fucking restlessness I have? Oh, poof. The other night I decided that I was going to drive to Whataburger, and I got a patty melt, which was okay. It was okay. And then I got one of their cinnamon rolls, which wasn't bad. And it's making me want to go there again. However, I also have, within drunk driving distance, I have a Jack in the Box. And one of the wonderful things is both Jack in the Box and Whataburger I had neither of where I used to live in Utah. What the hell's going on here? So I have two restaurants, two all-night, 24-hour restaurants that serve breakfast in the middle of the evening that I was unable to go to due to, you know, we just didn't have them up in Utah. And now we do. Now we do. So am I going to end this? What are we doing here? 2 viewers. We've been going 3 hours, 45 minutes. My name is Thorn, and this is the Game Design Lexicon. We're going to go ahead and call it quits here for the evening and end our game. And we will be back, if not tomorrow sometime, by Monday. Mondays we do Dark Cloud starting at noon Central Standard Time. That's GMT minus 6 or 7. I can't fucking remember. My mind's like goo right now with all the amount of rum that's plied through it. And make sure you give us a follow here. Please give us a follow if you've enjoyed our content. Or if not, head over to YouTube, which Game Design Lexicon. You can find us in the same location. And we take all of these VODs and we put them up anywhere between 1 week and a month, to the point to where we last played them, and you can watch them after the fact, as well as any other content that we post that is not appropriate for Twitch. Anyway, it's now 4 o'clock in the morning for us, and we're going to go ahead and give it a break for the evening, and we'll be back tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful late evening, whether you're in Denmark or Cambodia or Thailand or anywhere. I hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you, and see you later.